Welcome to another episode of Candid Conversations with yours truly, Tech Coach Ralph, where we are always and forever, till the grave, engineered to win. There is no other option but to win, and that is what we are going to do. In today's episode, we are going to talk about setting ourselves up to win. All right. So, what do I mean by setting up ourselves to win? Right. I think a lot of times we we make rash decisions because of how we are feeling in a particular moment or circumstance. And it might be like dragged on for a certain amount of time that it's like we feel that we just can't do it anymore, right? But the problem is, I mean, probably always when we make these rash decisions, when we make these rash decisions, w- what's on the other side is oftentimes worse than what the situation that we're currently in, right? So then we end up like now we start questioning ourselves and doubting ourselves, and it just becomes a total mess from there, right? So how can we so what I always look for is how can I take a particular situation and use it to my advantage, right? I'll give you an example that I probably gave you before, right? But when I was at a company and things started to go in the opposite direction of where I wanted it to go, right? And there were some disagreements with the manager on, the way that like with my expertise versus someone else's alleged expertise, the direction that the QA department should go in. I said, I'm not going to fight and beat a dead horse, especially in a topic that I am more knowledgeable in, right? So, and it's like this, like because the way that I see it, right? I have a vested interest in in you and the situation in the company until you give me a reason not to, right? Once you remove me from the equation, then I'm like, okay, you got it, like it's yours, right? But no matter how I felt during that time, I played the game and I didn't make any emotional decision. I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything out of emotion. I said, all right, now it's time to be strategic. What am I going to do for me to be in the best situation to win? And to give you some context, right? When I say like being invested in the company, being invested in the manager and all of that, like that's doing like going outside of your way, outside like because you could work doing exactly your job description to the T. You're just a average employee. You're not exceptional, but you don't perform poorly or anything like that. You don't need improvement. You just do what you're supposed to do. But when you take things on your back to for the success of the company and to make yourself look good, and in turn of making yourself look good, you make your manager look good, you make your team look good, you make your department look good, you make your organization look good, right? But then when you get the I forgot what movie it is, but when you get the ultimatum of bow down or lay down, right? Um Now we have a situation, right? Because they didn't give you the third option, and the third option is to stand up and make your strategize, make your own way, right? So I give you that context because I see so many people who make decisions based on how they feel, and then like however bad the situation is, right? But what I say is, however bad the situation is, find something in that situation that will benefit you and that you can use to your advantage to make a to do something else, right? Like use that as a springboard instead of going down to having nothing, and now it's like that climb to the top, it feels impossible, and now you feel like you're in a worse situation and you don't know what to do, right? So 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 that's so that, that's the basis of this candid conversation. How do we put ourselves in the best position to win? I think the very first way to put yourself in the best position to win is to it's to shut down, like it's to turn off your emotional reactions, right? Like you can't turn off your emotions, right? But you need to turn off your emotional reactions to whatever situation you're in, like not to get not to get frustrated and discouraged, and like you take it on and you say, all right, this negative feeling that I have, I'm going to use it as fuel to get to where I really want to be, right? And then you have to so you can't live in that feeling. You have to take that feeling and you need to transform it into a fire under you, right? So I'll give you an example. And in that same company, right? When I'm like, all right, I need to find a way out. I need to strategize, right? And I looked at my knowledge. I looked at the opportunities that were out there. I looked at what other companies were looking for, and I said, okay, I have a lack. I have a deficiency. I wasn't the type of work that I was doing here. It doesn't. It's kind of like it's kind of like bottled in. Like you the way it's catered specifically to the needs of the company, but you don't have general knowledge, right, of the industry. And in my industry, that would be QA. So I said, all right, I need to go and I need to learn all the things that I didn't learn, right, to get that more comprehensive knowledge about QA as a whole, and then as specifically about automation, about best like object oriented programming. And this is specific to QA, but it applies, like the concept applies across all industries, right? You need to, but the thing is, I could have been emotional, I could have been rash, and I could have just quit, right? And say, I'm not putting up with this. I'm out of here. And now I'm working my way from nothing, right? Instead of standing on like experience and creativity and all of that, I'm working from nothing, and I'm like, almost begging for someone to give me an opportunity, right? So the point is, it's like, all right, strategize, use what's best for you, right? So now I'm putting in time and effort, and I'm working on learning, on understanding, on just practicing, right? Like I always say, like you have to practice. So I'm like practicing waking up early, right? Going to sleep late. No other, like nothing else mattered, right? Up before everyone, going to sleep after everyone, because I had to do something, because I knew that the way that things were going, it wasn't going to work for me. And it's like once you make that decision in your mind, it's like we got to go. Like we need to get to our next step. Like you've outgrown where you were, right? Or maybe it's just like the way that you can see writings on the wall of like the direction that they want to go in is not the right direction for you. It's not the right direction for your career. Um, and then we have to move, right? But it's like, now, what is the work that we're going to do to get there? Are we thinking about vacation? Are we thinking about going out to see the new movie, right? for me, I don't I don't think about none of those things, right? Like whether I'm working or not. It's like sometimes like for me, like when I have to go on vacation and stuff like that and go away from like my norm, that's more exhausting and more of a burden for me than to just like put in just to work. And whether that's like working for corporate or working for myself or whatever the case may be, right? It's like honestly vacation, and I might be crazy for saying this, but it's like vacation is not really in my vocabulary. Because even when I'm quote unquote on vacation, I'm still strategizing. I'm still, taking appointments and all that type of stuff. For myself, I'm just doing it for from another location, and it's like, but I'm like, I'd rather be in my office, planning, strategizing, and going from there. You know, I don't, I don't work, and when I say work, I consider everything that I do as work, right? Um, I have a goal. I have a job to do. So whether I'm going to corporate, that's work. Whether I'm creating videos, that's work. Whether I'm coaching, that's work. Whether I'm reviewing resumes or helping someone with interview preparation, jumping on a call with somebody within 5 minutes because they need some encouragement before they go and they have a phone call with a potential like with an interview or whatever the case may be. Right? That's work. I enjoy doing it, but it's still work, right? Even to the point of going to jujitsu classes, right? For some people, they see it as a hobby, they see it as fun. For me, it's work. And when things are work for me, there's no other option. I have no problem when I need to get something done, and it's like I naturally just it's like while I'm sleeping, it's on my mind, right? Because it might be where I'm so tired. Like I want to do it the night before, but I'm so tired that I just can't focus. I can't keep my eyes open, and I'm like, all right, let's call it a night or call it a day, and I go to sleep. But now, as I'm sleeping, it's on my mind, and I just naturally wake up around like 3:30 in the morning. I'm like, all right, I'm up. Let's get to work. Because I have something to do. I can't sleep if it's not done. So, for instance, this past week, I was like for the past 2 weeks, I was working on something, and I'm like, I have a goal, right? I have a goal to start by this date, and and I just like naturally woke up 3:30 in the morning, and I'm like, all right, let's get to work and let's get it done. And now, like, and then when I got it done like a week ahead of schedule. So now it's like, all right, it's ready to launch, everything like that. And that following night, I was able to sleep comfortably and wake up around like 6 o'clock in the morning, right? Because that goal that I had set, it was completed a week in advance, right? And then I can move forward. But I'm not thinking about having fun and because one of my strategies is I don't go looking for things to do that are fun, right? I I take the things that I need to do and I find fun in those. I find joy in those. So like when you see me like on a live stream and I'm talking and you hear the sound effects and stuff like that, what what may seem like a quote unquote boring topic, right? Um I make it interesting, I make it fun. I have so much fun with the work that I do, finding humor in it, working on with the teams that I'm working with and everything like that, that it becomes a game, it becomes exciting, it becomes a challenge, right? For me, it's not about like going to the beach and wasting half the day there, getting burned in the sun and stuff like that, right? Everything that I do, I look for a benefit in it, even if it's going to play basketball on a Sunday morning, right? Is it fun to hang out with the guys that we're playing basketball with? Sure, but the benefit of being able to get some extra exercise in, run around, get some vitamin D, all that stuff, right? That's the main reason that I do it. Stay active and everything like that. The like playing with the other guys, that's an added benefit, but that's not the main purpose, right? So and going back to always working mentality. So for instance, with the jiu-jitsu example, if like when people ask me like, okay, how are you able to do a 2 hour class the night before, and then you show up at 6:30 a.m. the following day for a morning class, and for me, I'm like, how can you not? Right? There's no there's no there's no option for me, right? I don't make not being able to do it an option. You know, is it hard sometimes? Of course. Like when you're going to like the more advanced class the night before, and then you're training with monsters who are trying to kill you, right? And then you go home, and then like you have to let that adrenaline drop, and then so by the time you get to bed, it might be like midnight, 1 o'clock, and then you're up at 4:30 to do whatever you have to do, and then making it out to class to 6. Is that something that you always want to do? Of course not. But guess what? I don't let what I want to do dictate what I have to do. I get up and I said, all right, we got a job to do. And I go out there and I do what I have to do. And when I'm done, I'm like, good that I did it. Right? Always growing, never finished, engineered to win. So whatever, like wherever you are right now in your life, in your career search, in your educational in your educational pathway, you have to set that north star, right? You have to say, all right, this is the goal that's being set. And I'll have something coming out on like setting goals and how to accomplish those goals. But before we can even set those goals, we need to have that mentality that the goals that I set, I'm going to get there, right? And I'm going to do whatever it takes to get there. And sometimes, right, it might be a long route to get there. Like something that I absolutely like, it drives me crazy, right? Is that we align ourselves with what makes us feel good, what makes like we hear what we want to hear, and then we end up paying like a bunch of money for it, right? And then when you don't get the results after paying all that money, it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. They told me this, and it's like you put the blame on them, but you you didn't you didn't look into it. You didn't properly plan, right? And that's why the other video was called planning to fail. But I personally, right, and that's one of the reasons that like I don't get a big group of people, right? I can like giving general knowledge and how to maneuver and stuff like that. That's one thing, but that personalized one-on-one help, because I don't have a particular I don't have a particular like the only benefit that I really get from like helping someone to like get to the next level. It's just like a personal satisfaction, um seeing that like you being able to use your like your full potential, right? But it's not like it's not like I'm trying to get like 100 people to on like to pay me whatever it is, right? So I can sell you a dream that if I sell that same dream to 100 people, then that market saturation is like, all right, how likely is that, right? But and that's why I tell you, like, I'm not going to sell you something like, oh, you're gonna make all this money so easy if you just do one, two, three. No, I tell you straight up, like, it's going to be a hard, long path to follow. Depending on where you're starting from. Like sometimes you might already be up, and it's just like it's not that much you need to do, a few adjustments here and there. But for instance, like if you're trying to transform from a particular industry, right, into tech, for instance, and you say, "Oh, I'm just going to go take a class," and think that you're going to be making six figure just like that. There is a like you're going to have to face a harsh reality that you're going to actually have to go the long route that most people who've been in the industry for a long time had to go as well. And I'll tell you that straight up. See, and that's why, like, for me, I think it's like if you try to make connections with the people who are actually where you say that you want to be, right? And they're like they don't have any particular benefit from giving you that information, they're going to be honest with you because what is it? Like what's it to them? What are they getting out of it? So like they're gonna be honest, like oh, I want to be a software engineer. I'm thinking about doing A, B, and C. Blah 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 blah. What do you think about it? Like what are my prospects? And they'll tell you, well, you'll probably be starting off doing this, and it's you're probably going to be making around this to start off. If that doesn't work for you, then maybe you should reconsider. I would say that regardless of where you'd be starting off, it's probably worth it because of the what you'll get in the long run. But if you're looking to get to where I'm at within a year's time, then it might not be for you. I had to put in 20 years in tech, 15 years in QA. Started off answering phone calls, helping configure emails and DNS settings and how to use how to upload to your website and stuff like that. I remember one conversation like it was yesterday with a customer who said, I want a refund because I haven't used my web hosting since I got it. And he probably had it for like 6 months or something like that. And I'm like, well, we can't give you a refund because you had the space. And he's like, but if I don't use it, I can return it. Like some example that he gave. I said, well, think about it as public storage. Just because you didn't put anything in the storage space doesn't mean you didn't allocate the space and it was available to you, right? And that was like I still remember that conversation from about 20 years ago, right? Maybe a little bit under, but it was about 20 years ago. I remember it like it was yesterday. That's where I started. and you just go from there. And I'll tell you this: at that time, it was a lot easier to get in tech than it is now. But you might have to start at a call center, helping people troubleshoot their emails or whatever the case may be, and then move up from there. But are you going to complain about that? Is it not for you? Is that below you? And then to give some extra details about that, right? When I first started, I was working 3 in the afternoon to midnight, 5 days a week. I worked like 40 minutes from 40 highway minutes from the job site. Go to school in the morning, go home for an hour or so, head to work. Get back, wake up in the morning, school, work. My mistake at the time was not knowing any better, because if I knew better, right? If I had the right people in my life at that time, I would have been using the time to, like, you know what, learn more, practice more, like, but I didn't know any better at the time. So now when I try to give this information to you, right? And it's like, oh, but I want to do this, I want to do that. I'm like, it like, trust me, listen to me. Being here, it doesn't really work like that. Oh, but someone told me this, or how much did you pay them for them to give you that information? Right? Are they going to tell you something that you want to hear? And now, after you finish paying them, right? Now that you're not really paying them anymore, how much time do they have for you? Did they move on to the next group of people? I don't know. So it all comes down to, what's our goal? What do we want to get out of this? Like, it is so hard for me to. It's really hard for me that like, some of the, like, by the time that people come to talk to me, right? And it's like they've tried so many things on their own, and it's just like going down and down and down, and then they're like, it's like it's like when you break the glass to get the fire extinguisher, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna try to turn it around, but like, you put yourself, and now you've put me in a very tough situation. So we need to start better strategizing, and being like, I'll tell you this, right? Being in QA for this long, triaging different situations that, like, firestorms that come, I'm able to strategize, like, on the fly, right? Like, right, if we do this, if we do that, and navigate, maneuver, all that good stuff, right? Able to do that pretty much on the fly. But the problem is the setbacks that we set for ourselves. Are we able to, like, are we willing to go through the necessary steps to resolve it? You know, one suggestion that I have, right? When when things start to go bad, or you feel that like you're not sure, you need to actually reach out to someone who is in the position that you could see yourself in, or that you would like to see yourself in, and ask them for advice. Make a connection, network with them, because if you keep trying to figure it out on your own, when if you keep trying to figure it out on your own, when every decision that you made prior is not leading you in the direction that you want to go in, I think you need to like stop, take a breath, stop getting emotional, and say, "Hey, this is where I'm at now. This is what I was thinking about doing. Um, can you give me some advice?" At the same time, you have to be very careful who you get that advice from. And for me, it's like this, right? Although you're being careful, and by being careful who you get that advice from, right? Research everything. You might go to the doctor and they tell you, "Oh, this is what's wrong," and you're like, "Let me get a second opinion. Let me get a third opinion." Right? And then once you get these opinions, you have to put it down. Like we are like we can be very resourceful for the things that we really want, but then the things that are the most important for us, we wing it. We don't really care, all that good stuff, right? So I like me. I'm gonna win. If you come in contact with me, I want you to win, and I'm willing to give you the strategies, the blueprints, what I have to help you win. But if you want to give me the reasons why you believe that you should continue doing it the way that you've been doing, that continuously leads you to losing and failure, then I'll just say, okay. Because why am I going to argue with you about, since you know so much about your path to success, why am I going to argue with you? If you have a need to be right, then guess what? You're right. You're right. And then I'll go back to doing what I do, rocking with the people who are looking to get somewhere and trust me to give them the right advice to get there. You know? Yeah. What are we going to do? Are we going to be engineered to win, or are we going to continue planning to fail? That's my question to you. What are you going to do about it? I know we all have the capability to win. But the question is, do we have the desire and the passion to win? Let me know what you think. Let me know what you plan to do. Leave me a comment. Send me an email if you want to strategize and learn how to set the proper goals and go from there. Anyhow, this has been another episode of Candid Conversations with Tech Coach Ralph. If you found this information useful, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can be informed of every time we go live, every time we drop a new video. Hit the like button. Share this information with your friends and family or coworker who can find it useful as well. All right. But until next time, this is Tech Coach Ralph signing off.
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.